What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikiPikaPapa, and I know I have sad Charizard on the screen, but this is not a sad video. It's the opposite. This is a video of opportunity, not despair. I think we have some amazing pieces of cardboard that we're going to talk about today. So this whole video spun up because I was looking for Charizard cards that were going up and to the right in price, like crazy, freight train, can't stop them. And of course I found a couple of them, but I also found a lot of Charizard cards that have been coming down in price over the last 6 to 12 months. So I did what I always do. I saw a trend, I pulled out the shovel, I started digging, I went down the rabbit hole, and I have some awesome things to talk to you about today that have come of that. Now, it also reminded me of this saying which has driven my cardboard collecting career. For 20 years, I've been collecting cardboards at a high level, and this has always driven every buying decision that I've had. And it is far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. Basically, what that means, Warren Buffett was saying, prioritize quality over price, right? Which makes all the sense in the world. Here, when we think about Pokemon as a whole, Pikachu's the face of Pokemon, right? My kids have Pikachu, everything. When we think about the cardboard side, the TCG side, the collecting, the investing side of things, the fire lizard reigns supreme, right? Like Charizard is the big dog when it comes to the collecting, investing side of things. So this is going to represent a lot of opportunity to buy a wonderful card in Charizards at hopefully a fair price. And we're going to talk about that in depth. Now, another thing I wanted to say too is we do fun stuff like this all the time. We're building an amazing community. The people I interact with every single day are just second to none. They're amazing. So if you're interested in being a part of that, if you're interested in seeing more, I appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. I love watching the subscriber count go up. There's no better way to say thank you to me for all the work I do than hitting that subscribe button. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I respond to all of them personally. Let's get into the cardboard now. All right. The very first card I wanted to talk about was this Charizard GX from Unbroken Bonds. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about it is because Unbroken Bonds as a set from a sealed booster box perspective has been functioning differently than all of the other late series Sun and Moon sets, right? Like Sun and Moon, Cosmic Eclipse, Team Up, all of these sets are going up and to the right. Unbroken Bonds is down 13% over the last 6 months, which is absolutely crazy. Actually, out of all of the Sun and Moon sealed booster boxes, only 3 of them are down over the last 6 months. 2 of them are from the first 4 sets, and this one is from the back half. So it's a beautiful card. These rainbow rares have been doing really well. Charizard cards, like a lot of these cards have been doing well, and this one has been performing in the opposite direction. It started off at $156. It's down to $137. So that made me really think, hey, is this a buying opportunity? Is this a wonderful card at a fair price? Here's what I want to talk about that I see on this chart, and we're going to talk about it a lot throughout this video, so I wanted to talk about it early on. Look at how the last couple months it is flattened out. To me, that's what we call a resistance point. So there is a point where a card price gets so low, the market won't let it go any lower because people say, oh my God, this card is so great. The price is so low, we're going to buy it. And that's the resistance point. So you'll see this has been really choppy on the way down over the last year, but for the last couple months, the market won't seem to let it go below $135. Every time it tries to dip below $135, collectors are sitting there with open arms waiting to buy it because they feel like $135 is a fair price, right? So if we feel like $135 is the resistance point for this card, buying it at $137 is a wonderful card at a fair price and a great opportunity for the chess players out there. So that was why I wanted to start off with this. I thought the performance of Unbroken Bonds was really unique. I also thought that this was a great opportunity for us to talk about resistance points because we're going to see that on a couple more of these Charizard cards. I also wanted to call out at the end of this video, we're going to look at a bunch of other Charizard cards at a high level that have performed down and to the right and then have rebounded so we can see, hey, what are some possible opportunities? What does an upturn look like in these cards as well? So, all right, let's get into the next piece of cardboard right here. Charizard GX from Hidden Fates. Now, Hidden Fates doesn't have ETB or doesn't have booster boxes. It's only an ETB set, right? And the ETB is up over the course of the year. Now, it has been a very, very choppy run for Hidden Fates ETBs. But this card has also had a choppy run, but it has been a trend line down and to the right. Like we see, it had this huge sell-off in August. It tried to work its way back up. Then it came back down. It started off at almost $400. It's at about $350 right now, representing an 11% loss. But here's what I will tell you. Again, we're starting to see it fighting up from that $350 price point. So $350 might be the current low that the market has it set out. Now, we will never know what the bottom is. If you are going to sit on the sidelines and wait to buy a card because you're waiting to see what the bottom is, you're going to be sitting forever. Nobody knows when the bottom is going to come. Most often than not, when we think we're there, we're not. So you just have to find great cardboard at fair prices. I'm going to hammer that point home throughout this entire video. So a good price point for this might be $350. Again, the sealed product is going up. This card has been coming down. It seems like it's flattening out a little bit. I'll tell you right now, I can do a lot of damage with $350. So even though I feel like this is a fair price on a great piece of cardboard, I'm personally not pulling the trigger on it. I feel like a small percentage point in this is going to represent a big dollar loss. And I feel like I can spread that $350 out across a couple cards or a couple different sealed products that I think have a ton of opportunity for upside. So if you have this card, listen, congratulations. I think it's going to bounce back. I think you're going to do really well if you're in the market for it. It might be a great buying opportunity. It's just not where I'm going to spend my money right now. So the next card right here, Pokemon Go. Now, I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for Pokemon Go, Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs to flip to sold out, and they finally have. What does that mean? Not a whole heck of a lot right now, because you can still find this product everywhere in retail stores, right? I was just at my local Walmart and I saw these Pogo tins were on clearance for $10, which is absolutely crazy. I picked up a couple. But this price has been depreciated over the last 6 months by about 37%. It started off at 16, it's down to 10. I only did 6 months because this was a 2022 release, and we know typically for the first year these cards can be really volatile. So the last 6 months it has dropped significantly. But again, look at that resistance point. This might be the point where the market says, no matter what, this is a $10 card. Like, we won't let this card get below $10. Now, another thing I wanted to call out is the PSA 10 population, because I'm going to talk about that a lot in this video as well. We're going to use PSA 10 populations to look at different price points of raw cards. This one has a PSA 10 pop of about 6,000. Now, that's a very high number. It's not as high as we'll talk about, but again, it's a relatively new product, so I expect more of them to get graded. Maybe it'll end up in the 8,000, 8,500 range, but it certainly won't 2x, I don't think, over time, but there is a lot of this product left to be open. So $10 with 6,000 in PSA 10, you know, I think if you can buy 10 of these and you can send them all in and you can get some PSA 10s, you might be able to make money on it. But for me, from a buy and hold perspective, I think this is a better raw opportunity. Get some at $10. Certainly can do a lot worse with $10 than buying a Radiant Charizard from Pogo. I think it's a great set. I think a lot of people really love it. And it will be interesting to see how this performs as Pokemon Go sealed product starts to disappear from the market. How much do they have in storage? I don't know. Could be a week, could be a month, could be a year. But I am praying it is sooner rather than later. Next card right here. I almost didn't include this because I've talked about this card ad nauseum, but it is such a great opportunity. I just have to call it out. Listen, here's what it boils down to. Brilliant Stars. A lot of people, including myself, think this is a top 4 Sword and Shield era set. This is the absolute chase card in this set. This card has been coming down. It is at $150. The market seems to think $150 is a fair price. I certainly think $150 is a fair price. I wanted to include this on here because, listen, the Brilliant Stars booster boxes were going crazy. Like, they got all the way up to $180. The whole time it was going up on this channel, we were talking about Icarus is getting too close to the sun, right? Like, it's got to come back down. It doesn't make sense. I know the whole world doesn't have access to the Pokemon Center, but enough of the collecting population does that when you can buy it for MSRP at $145 on the Pokemon Center, it doesn't make sense for the secondary market to value it at $180. So that has come back down. This has continued to come down as well. We're seeing a little bit of a resistance line at $150. At the end of the day, if this is going to be a top 3 or 4 set from Sword and Shield, if this is going to be the #1 chase card, then I think you can do a whole lot worse than spending $150 on this brilliant, beautiful piece of cardboard right here. Now, this is another one that I am not bullish on. One of the things I wanted to do with this video was include cards of all different price ranges. I wanted to include cards of different eras. I wanted to include cards that I have a different feeling of for long-term performance. We talked about this in the very last video, Darkness Ablaze, this Charizard. We looked at the Darkness Ablaze set. We compared it to its Sun and Moon peer. We saw the Sun and Moon peer, it performed 17%. This one is actually down below MSRP, even after being out for 3 years from a sealed booster box perspective. And that's because this Charizard card pretty much sucks. Like, it's not super exclusive. There's 14,000, I'm gonna say that again, 14,000 PSA 10s of these out in the market. It is just an absolute crazy number. There was no rarity to this big chase card, and the sealed booster box has obviously, you know, suffered because of that. This card started off at 48, it's down to $30. I'm still not pulling the trigger at $30. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me with that PSA 10 population, with the fact that the sealed product, you know, is depreciating in value even after 3 years. Doesn't mean that I'm not picking up a booster box. I'm not gonna lie to you. I picked up a Darkness Ablaze booster box the other day simply because I think after 3 years being able to get it below MSRP, even though the product inside might not be great, I do think that there is going to be a certain percentage of the population that wants all sealed product from Sword and Shield era further down the road. Darkness Ablaze is going to be a piece of that. Getting that at under MSRP 3 years after release, I think, is a great opportunity. So I picked a couple up. Happy to have those in the collection. Not happy to have this in the collection, even though I do have one at PSA right now. Maybe I'll get a 10. The graders haven't been very kind to me, but we shall see. Maybe I'll be one of the 14,000. All right. Next one right here, going from a card that I'm super bearish on to a card that I'm super bullish on. Listen, I bought this at $40 because I thought this was going to be a rocket ship up and to the right. Obviously, I was wrong. PikiPikaPapa is wrong as much as he's right. But it started off at $42, worked its way all the way up to $45. Now it's down to $36, representing a 14% drop. This card, I mean, it's a Charizard stamped promo from Team Up. Team Up is like a freaking rocket ship. It's up to like $1,350 per sealed booster box. It's absolutely crazy. This is a beautiful card, stamped promo again. I will tell you this, I looked up the PSA 10 population on this. There's only 550 PSA 10s. Now let's put this into perspective. 550 PSA 10s for this stamped Charizard from Team Up, and this raw is going for $36. And this one right here is going for $31 with 14,000 in PSA 10 from Darkness Ablaze. Like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. This is the one that I guarantee you will see some of these coming in the mailbox at the PikiPikaPapa household. I'm extremely bullish on this long term. Even if it continues to come down, it doesn't seem like a firm resistance point is built in. Like you see, it starts to maybe flatten out a little bit there at the very end, but I would want to see more weeks of flatness before I feel like a real bottom is set in. But I will tell you right now, I think this is a good, fair price for a awesome card. I guarantee you I will be picking some of these up. Now, the next one right here, I thought this was a cool one to include because it shows the insanity, it shows the craziness, it shows these huge price fluctuations. So this is the M Charizard from XY Evolutions. XY Evolutions is hands down one of the awesomest sets out there, right? People are paying a mint to get XY Evolutions. It started off at 43, it's down to 39, so it represents a $9 or 9% change in price. But look at how it has performed. It has gone way down, then it's come up, then it spiked down, then it spiked up, and now it's been working its way back down. I will tell you this though, the PSA 10 population is about 8,500. You can get this in a PSA 10 slab for about 120, 130 bucks. For $40 raw or a 3x multiplier in PSA 10, for my perspective, for my personal collection, I'm going to spend 3 times more and get a PSA 10 knowing that the card is perfect, knowing that it's encapsulated. I don't have to worry about it being, you know, less than perfect. I don't have to worry about it being a fake, right? Like, it just, to me, if it's a 3x multiplier and if it's a 40 versus $120, I'm going to buy the PSA 10 all day long. I've told you this before. For me and my personal collection, buying the highest grade that I possibly can and the highest quality cards have performed very, very well in the long run. Even though there's 8,500 of them out there, if you want this card, I think that's the play. But also, if you're looking for raw, if you like collecting, if you like putting in binders, hey, listen, I have no shame in that. I think that's a really cool way to do things. I have a binder and I have a PSA graded collection. I think this card is an awesome opportunity here at 40 bucks because I think it is going to at least stay steady. Now, with that being said, I promised you we were going to look at a bunch of other Charizard cards and how they performed, and here this is. We got cards from Champion's Path up there. We got the special delivery. We got a Flash Fire. Card from Celebrations, card from Generations, card from Cosmic Eclipse. And again, I wanted to include cards of various price points, cards from different eras, cards from ETBs, cards from booster boxes, to give us an idea of how different Charizard cards can perform. The Flash Fire one is one I wanted to call out. Look at it, like it started off really hot, then it cratered, and then it's worked its way back up. Same thing with Celebrations. Celebrations came down, then it's working its way back up. Same thing with Generations. Generations dropped off a freaking cliff, and then it worked its way back up. Cosmic Eclipse, everybody knows what that's been doing. So anyways, I wanted to share this with you all. That way you say, hey, listen, these cards where we've talked about where they've been down and to the right for the last 6 to 12 months, what could a rebound look like? What could recovery look like? Do these cards have the opportunity? Well, these cards, from a rarity, from a collectability, from an artwork perspective, they certainly don't seem too indifferent from the other ones that we talked about earlier. So if these cards could turn it around, maybe the other ones can as well. I thought this was a really cool thing to layer in at the very end. And I'm telling you right now, I have an awesome video on Sunday where we're going to talk about some of these exact scenarios. We're going to talk about cards that look similar, perform similar, from similar eras, yet their price points are doing very different things, which might represent some more buying opportunities in the Charizard market. And then on Wednesday, I'm not even going to tease what it is, but I promise you, if you never watch my Wednesday videos, the Wednesday video coming up is going to be absolute fire. With all that being said, if you've made it to the end and you haven't hit the subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. If you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up. If you have a question or comment, drop it down below. I promise I'll respond to it. I hope you guys have a fun and safe Friday. I hope you have an epic weekend, and I can't wait to see you on Sunday. Have a good one, everybody.